And that kind of ebb and flow, supply and demand is constant every day in a pharmacy.
Sure.
How do pharmacies, manage that? Is technology a key driver there, or their script system? Um, kind of how,
Yes.
how how do they manage that different
Yeah.
ebb and flow with what they need and don't need?
All of the above. So I like to manage things that are highest impact first. Um, I tell people a lot of times, and maybe anybody that's listening has probably heard me say this on a customer call or an analysis, and I'm like, you could take, in theory, inventory turns it's a financial ratio. We could talk about physical turns, but also typically when we're calculating turns, we're calculating cost of goods sold over inventory value, right? So that's dollars over dollars. You could take a pallet of simvastatin and park it in the back of your store and never touch it. And if you're doing enough volume there, if you're selling through enough product, it would be very difficult to see that in the financials. You'd be able to see it because you'd have to step around it. You'd trip over it. It would be a pain. But truthfully, would it damage your performance? Not a ton. So at the end of the day, I like to order things and attack things where I'm going to get the most bang for my proverbial buck in terms of time. Right. So when we're doing that inventory mining program, a lot of times we're sorting those opportunities from greatest to least impact. And that's a function of how expensive is that item versus how many times am I going to dispense it in a month. Right. Which brings us full circle back to, you asked me, how can they do that? I want to really attack the items that are of highest impact to me. That's greatest cash flow impact and greatest dollar impact on the shelf, slowest volume impacts my numbers a lot more than my generics. How do they approach stocking and dealing with those ebbs and flows? Well, the cost to miss on a prescription is a big consideration for a pharmacy owner. I should never miss on something that I'm making a good margin on. Most of the time, that's cheap generic medication. I'm going to get a lot of scripts for it. I'm going to move a lot of it, and it's low cost. I don't advocate that anybody's running out of generics, atorvastatin, simvastatin, things like that. But the cost to miss, and people see this a lot on GLP-1s because people have started sending them out the door. Oh, I don't want to fill those because I'm losing money. Well, the cost to miss on somebody coming in to get a Wegovy or something like that you're losing money on is positive, right? You didn't lose money. So we're in a better position. And I'm not advocating that everybody send all their prescriptions away or anything like that. I'm just saying we need to think in terms of when we're trying to stock and we're trying to handle fluctuations in needed stock to fill prescriptions. We need to think about, okay, how much outlay am I taking? How much cash outlay am I utilizing to procure this product? And then what am I receiving when I sell it? And a lot of times I think that is a kind of a compass or a North Star that we can guide by to say, okay, I'm going to stock up on these low cost medications because I'm going to move them. They're not going to sit stagnant. They don't take up a lot of cash. My higher cost brand name stuff that doesn't move, that's what's impacting my inventory turns. So let's manage that a little more tightly.